Jinbei and devil fruits. Two things that don't really mix, much like sushi and regular fruits. To be fair, I guess I don't actually know that because I don't eat sushi, but maybe I should. Just as Jinbei should eat this specific devil fruit that has been officially given to him. Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. My name is Liam, and contrary to popular belief, a fishman has eaten a devil fruit before. Even though he's known as an elephant these days, Jack is actually a giant groper fishman, which actually makes himself sound like the kind of man who would get arrested on public transport. But also the most important fishman of all, Vanderdecken. Wait, did I say most important? I meant to say most. Not that. Vanderdecken ate the Mata no Mi, a very handsy devil fruit, so much so that if someone asked you who of these two fishmen was the groper, well, you would almost certainly choose Vanderdecken. But the whole fish fruit thing is far from unprecedented. But now we finally have that all-important Jinbei confirmation, which is brought to you by the highly aquatic Patrick Starfish, Rubber Shark, and Fish Boy 101, all of whom managed to change their lives forever by pressing the subscribe button for the Grand Line Review, which will result in consistent injections of One Piece culture being administered directly into your YouTube feed. And if you'd like to be our next subscriber of the day, then all you need to do is press that delectable red button, and please do say hi in the comments below if you are a new member of the Grand Fleet. Welcome. So this Jinbei news comes to us courtesy of the SBS section of volume 102. Now, if you don't know what an SBS is, well, it's usually the place in manga release volumes where Oda gets asked various questions about penises. And I'm not joking there. Historically, genital questions have been very popular, but sometimes also relevant stuff. Like this interview with Jinbei's voice actor Katsuhisa Hoki, who was posed the question, if Jinbei ate devil fruit, which fruit do you think it would be? And Mr. Hoki-san answered, because he's a fishman who can live on both land and water, it would be Tori no Mi, bird fruit. But it would be too hard not being able to swim anymore, which is such a brilliant answer, and I can't believe that I'd never thought of it. I mean, I can because I'm not particularly good at thinking. I mean, look, when you've got a thing to be done, this is exactly how you'd want to do it. To make up for losing your ability to swim, you'd perhaps want to balance things out by gaining the power to fly. Although it would have to be like a damn mighty bird to carry someone of Jinbei's width and depth. Height as well, I suppose, because he is tall. He's like really tall. How tall is he? Oh my god. According to this, Jinbei is 301 centimeters tall, which is like, that's almost 10 feet. However, Katsuhisa Hoki is not Jinbei's original voice actor. In fact, Jinbei's 10-foot Jinbei was once originally filled with the vocal delights of Daisuke Gori, until he unfortunately passed away in 2010, which is very sad, but even sadder is that this is not at all an uncommon occurrence for One Piece. The anime has been running since 1999, and it's gotten to the point where Mayumi Tanaka, the voice of Luffy, has expressed a pretty genuine fear that she may not live to fulfill the end of that role. Mayumi Tanaka, pictured here being thoroughly Lion Kinged, is of course still a sprightly 64 years old. However, as sprightly as that may be, that is only 1 year away from Japan's legal age of retirement. And thinking about it, the One Piece anime realistically probably isn't even ending for maybe 7 years, maybe more, maybe less, or maybe exactly what I said. Now, something that has ended though is the speculation of what Katakuri's devil fruit looks like, which comes to us courtesy of One Piece Magazine Volume 14. And well, it looks like this. Gloriousome, isn't it? Now, to be completely honest with you, I think it's a bit too far in the direction of butt plug for my personal taste. But, and that's a pun, it does have some really cool details. One thing you may, or I suppose may not notice, is that it has a shockingly similar stem to the Gomu Gomu no Mi, and it continues these similarities by carrying the standard devil fruit pattern established by the Gomu Gomu. You know what, are we still calling it the Gomu Gomu? I'm not used to the whole Hito Nika thing just yet. But I really love that the Mochi no Mi essentially looks like the fruit-based older brother of the Gomu Gomu. And I suppose just like Katakuri himself, this fruit is very top-heavy. Now, for more fruit-based fun, we also have the design of Eustace Kids' devil fruit. Here is the Jiki no Mi, and I swear, this fruit looks cooler than the entire design of Eustace Kid himself. Although I will say that just looking at it, I would have thought that this would be NL's devil fruit, the true form of which has not yet been revealed. Let's just say I would be slightly disappointed if I became some sort of magnetic budget Shanks instead of a glorious stacked lightning god. Now, speaking of disappointing, the SBS section of volume 102 also named and I suppose shamed Eustace Kid's entire crew, and there are a whopping 31 members, only 22 of which have names apparently. But some of these ever memorable figures include Bubblegum, Hip Hop, Pump, Mosh, and of course UK or perhaps even Ook. And look, if you want to know all of their names, and you can do that in your spare time, all I'm going to say here is that these characters are so important that Eiichiro Oda quite literally stated that knowing who these people are is completely and utterly unimportant. Let's talk about first mates now, because this information lit a rather sizable firework in the collective excretion holes of the One Piece fandom. Oda was posed the following question. Hello, Adachi. Judging from the color spread of chapter 1031, Beppo is the number 2 of the Heart Pirates? I was surprised since I thought him, Penguin, and Shachi are all number 2s. So is Beppo, brackets, Sulong form, the strongest out of them? Now, before I give Oda's answer, I want to preface this by saying that a lot of people use the implications of this here color spread to finally state once and for all that Zoro was the vice captain of the Straw Hats. So don't be mistaken here. The reader is asking about Beppo, but what's really at stake here is Zoro. So Oda gave the following answer. Talking about that color spread, huh? Same goes for Zoro. Not everyone holds the position of vice captain. They are just the number 2s that I picked out. Penguin and Shachi are more reliable in normal circumstances, but those two have seen Beppo's Sulong transformation. So they acknowledge that combat-wise, Beppo is superior. Now, firstly, this does confirm that Sulong Beppo exists, a form that I am extremely disappointed that we have not yet seen during the raid. You know, I really don't think that I asked too much of One Piece, but I really, and I mean really, wanted that rampaging polar bear. I do find it intriguing that Oda considers Penguin and Shachi more useful in most circumstances, because I think you could actually say the same thing for any of the Straw Hats paired with Luffy. If it doesn't involve some degree of fight battling, then one of the others is almost certainly going to be more useful, except Zoro. In fact, in many cases, he may be even less useful. And so Oda has once more denied Zoroites the title of vice captain, and instead has played right into the hands of the Sanjians by quite literally referring to Zoro as a number 2. As a consolation prize, however, Oda did reveal some interesting new information about Zoro, something that I'm sure all of us have wondered at some point or another, because that's right, Eiichiro Oda has finally provided an official bust measurement, which is a mighty swordsmanic 110 centimeters, which according to this bra size guide I've googled, makes Zoro either an E or an F cup. Damn. Very notably, this bust is on full display on the cover of volume 102. Zoro is, of course, braless in this image, but you may not even notice that at first, because I know that the first thing that registered in my mind was that amazing green haki. And this brings up a really interesting point, because we almost never see haki officially colored in the manga. I mean, not beyond the standard black punch fisty coating. Of course, the anime chooses to depict haki in all sorts of crazy colors in various stylized ways, very much depending on who's directing any given episode. It's not particularly consistent. But when it comes to the manga, this green effect may also have to do with the idea that this is Zoro using Conqueror's haki. And maybe it's a situation where this brings out more individuality. The will of the individual conqueror, or some sort of stuff thing like that. But now that you've been looking at this volume cover for a bit, have you noticed the hidden secret? Well, probably not, because it's not here. But if we look underneath the dust jacket, we discover a fun panda surprise. As in place of Sanji, what we appear to have is Panda Man cosplaying Zoro. And not only that, but he's actually cosplaying Zoro in place of Sanji. It's fun because you can still see Sanji behind Panda Man. His blue flame fruit jumper is very visible. So it's one of those situations where at this very moment, the Pirate King appears to have one left-hand man and two right-hand men. So here's the thing though, when I first saw this, I legitimately thought it was an April Fool's joke, because this cover started making its way on Twitter in very, very early April, like around April 2nd or something. So I wasn't exactly sure what to think of it. But no, for whatever reason, instead of sticking Panda Man's head on Sanji, we now have a Panda Zoro. Perhaps even an eventual Sulong Panda Zoro in the Panda Man canon. Not at all out of the question. Weird things happen in the Panda Man canon. That's enough of first mates though, because probably the most important question in this volume is regarding Luffy. One very astute reader conjured a question that somehow has never crossed my mind, and it goes as follows. Hi Oda. I've always been interested in it. Since when did Luffy start using the word Pirate King for the first time? This kind of question blew my mind when I I read it, and not just because of the wildly incoherent grammar of the translator, but because going through chapter 1, the idea of becoming the Pirate King, well, it almost seems kind of arbitrary. Luffy doesn't necessarily know about Roger. He's a small boy living in a small village led by a small man with a big bucket hat. When did Luffy actually learn that the Pirate King existed? In fact, did he even know at the time when he made that declaration to Shanks? It's almost as if, as a child, he just decided that in order to become greater than the Shanks, his mind just went to the highest title it could find. Like oh, you're a pirate, eh? Well, I'm gonna be the king of you. But Oda's answer goes a bit further than that. In the chapter that tells his story with Shanks, he certainly did not mention that he was on the ship of the Pirate King. Before Luffy met Shanks, Garb, I'm assuming that the translator means Garp, but anyway, Garb told him to become a marine, but Luffy opposed that and wanted to venture freely. So nothing there about Pirate King, but a solid focus on Luffy wanting to be free. It's almost as if Luffy has had this innate desire for freedom ever since birth. Like it's the thing that he was born to do. And over time, Luffy has somehow conflated the role of Pirate King as the man with the most freedom in the world. So it really does go towards teasing that their second dream. The dream that both Luffy and Roger shared that still has yet to be revealed to even us. In fact, especially us. We don't get told anything. And Oda, very craftsomely I might add, answered this question without giving any of that away. However, he did answer some questions far more directly, such as, how does Frankie sleep? And Oda took a lot more time to answer this question, even going so far as to draw a full-on Frankie sleep diagram. And as it turns out, the way Frankie sleeps is, well, it's like everyone else, which is lying down, but sure, we needed this diagram. I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed that he doesn't plug himself into some sort of oversized phone charger style device. Or even better, his body could have just transformed into its own bed. Why not? I mean, if your body comes equipped with nipple lights, then what can't it do? Anyway, looking at that Frankie has made me a bit tired now. So let's do the thing where I stop doing this and then commence doing another thing, because there is another amazing video waiting right here, so I look forward to seeing you there.